Hello, and welcome. We are back with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Recipe for Turnabout. Let's go. Part 4-2, the second part of the trial. January 8th, 1:21 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 1. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe? What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair is standing on end.
Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot.
It's not a top knot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, all right?
I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kind of get wound up. Ah!
No kidding.
You gotta have something for me to do, pal. Anything. Hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you've got an hour.
An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour?
You bet!
In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? The small bottle. Right? Would that be it? If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this?
Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right?
Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to.
Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too.
Small bottle given to Detective Gumshoe.
Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back.
This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. January 8th, 1:56 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 4.
Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Perio Tigre?
I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem. It's tamed him. The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful. He still bites.
Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the...
Don't hide under the table, Maya. Unless there's room for me down there, too.
But would you mind? What did you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest.
Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge?
I got business to take care of, you hear me? So they'll throw me into this hole. Was it you, Spikey?
No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor?
Oh, dear. I should have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me. Just carry on with the proceedings as normal.
That's it. We're doomed.
Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here?
There's no need to shout. We can all hear you.
What did you say?
There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in. That's too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct?
Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mask boy.
You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird?
Maggie who? I've got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright.
Huh?
You was the one who set this up, didn't you? You was gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today.
Get a grip, Nick! The tiger's alibi.
I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December of last year. Spent all of my time in the office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. You want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. At last, I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright. You're cross-examined. Ah! What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins.
Lowlife? Me?
Listen up, Smutty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000. And you was gonna borrow the cash from me.
That's one loan contract I refuse to sign.
And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger.
I love a good spectator sport.
Just a minute, that's really not...
This witness is, how can I put it? Hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too.
Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Oh, so this is the clown part 2, huh? Okay. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would ya, Maya?
All right, so no irrelevant pressing. Got it. All right, he didn't know nothing. Yeah, that's whatever. He was tied up in business with December last year. Spent all of my time in the office. Wheels landed to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. Just ask Violetta. Okay. I think this one we can press, asking Violetta. By Violetta, you're talking about the Cadaverini families? Yeah. You don't want to cross them or you're gonna wind up sleeping with the fishes. Once the Godfather finds out you've been dragging Violetta through the mud, he'll do you in.
Sorry, I couldn't quite put it all together towards the end there. He said that just like Violetta, didn't he? I get the feeling this might not be the right time to probe him about her.
Let's press a little bit harder. Mr. Tigre,
what do you want?
If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
This is a dead end, Wright, and you know it. Remember the rules.
Pressing the witness without evidence to back up your attack is prohibited. As I said earlier, the court will impose a penalty for such behavior.
Ouch, the pain.
Oh, now then, Mr. Tigre, would you mind repeating your testimony from the beginning, please?
My time ain't free, you hear? You'd better remember that. If I miss that bus, someone's gonna pay.
Okay, the one that also stands out to me is was tied up with business in December of last year because we have, where is it? His calendar. I know it's here somewhere. Hey, there it is. December 3rd, the day of the incident, there is a note saying, meet with the tiger. So that we can go into detail on. Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know?
You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is.
Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini?
She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was.
That seems like a rather sketchy schedule. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder, so now what? We gotta press harder because we have evidence. Mr. Tigray.
What do you want?
Let's see. If you wouldn't mind going... Oh! He said that... Oh, I'm gonna get penalized again? Really? Oh. Oh, wait.
Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before.
I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please...
Mr. Tigray, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony.
Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. The day he was talking about, I was in the office, I never saw that kid before. Okay, here we go. I think this is an easy one to... Why did he have this on the calendar? Mr. Tigray, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you.
What?
Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger, and the date, December 3rd.
December 3rd? That's the day of the murder.
So, Mr. Tigray, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg, because on the very day of the incident, you met with him.
Not bad. He was actually not bad.
Sorry?
I was just messing with you. To see how good you were.
Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated.
You calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing?
Uh-oh! Did he just Scooby-Doo out of here?
So you're claiming that your claim that to have never seen that kid before is the truth?
I said I'm dead serious. You better believe that's the truth.
Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, will you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigray?
Oh, yes, would you mind indulging the court, witness?
You never actually met the victim? That's gotta be a lie right there.
It's time I nailed this guy. The victim, Glenn Elg. Okay.
I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tender Lende. I waited around for him, but he never showed. I ain't never even been to that Trabian joint, you hear?
Wait, you never been there? Gumshoe found you there. I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up.
I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead.
Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor.
Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. Bill's going straight to you, right?
The victim, Glenn L. Okay. Never met him. There was some lame guy with that name wanted to borrow cash. Meeting with the guy at my office, Tender Lender. Waited around for him, but he never showed. I have never been to Trabian. That one I want to press. Never? Not even once?
Not even once. I was in my office the day that went down. I didn't put no poison in no kid's coffee, capiche?
You think he really didn't meet Glen Elk? Not likely. Because I'm convinced this guy's behind the whole thing. So you mean that whole testimony he just gave was a lie? Of course. So we can't afford to give him time to think of ways to plug the leaks in it. I've got to nail him while I still can. Alright. Hunt for him. Never been to Trebien. Like that? Do I have anything that could expose that? I'm curious. Oh! I just had a thought. Yeah, wait a minute. Let me go through here. The Trebien matches. Yeah, matches found for advertising. Yeah, used found lying in Tender Lender. Yes, there we go. Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches?
Matches? What are you talking about?
We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Trebien before, what was the book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk?
You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy? What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me.
Order! Order! Well, witness? I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me.
I ain't no pussycat. They'll go back on what they said. But, okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, all right? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid.
Well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elk that day, and he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. Alright, at Trebien. Okay.
I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be. So I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office.
Well, how'd you get the matches then? I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold it! If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions.
No problem. Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty.
Mr. Godot, that's my job.
Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it.
Yes, sir. My goodness. Judge.
The special express isn't cheap, right? Just so as you know, since you's paying.
Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? No. I've been doing this long enough. All right, so let's see what we got here. I was supposed to meet at the restaurant. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. Okay. Place was hot. It was going to be. I heard the cops' sirens, and I went straight out. Yeah? Okay. When I opened the door, I saw one ugly scene. Hang on. When he opened the door... So he's saying, like... So in his version of events, he opened the door, saw what was going on, immediately turned around and left. Didn't even step into the restaurant. So... hang on. I want to look here. An incident occurred at Brook... No. The floor plans. Okay, that's... Yeah, that's impossible. I thought so. Because based off of the floor plan here... So, say he's coming in. what he would see would be the counter and the hallway here between the tables, because they said, I don't know if this was true or not, but they said that the point of Trebian was to make the customers feel like they're the only people there. So, yeah, that would not make any sense. So I think this is a contradiction, actually. Yes, got it. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre?
No one escapes the tiger's clutches.
Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. I'm something of a lie detecting pro myself. Ugh. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight.
What's this, Wright? A new line of irrelevant questioning.
These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat.
Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head.
Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true! Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision for any customer walking in ends here. So from the entrance of Trevian, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him.
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table.
But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenn Elg, but a fake.
What?
In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenn Elg and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Easy enough. It's you, Furio Tigre. Obviously. The killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness?
Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle. So I dare you to say it again. Come on. You got the guts?
You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright!
Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got guts. I'll give you that.
Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone.
Perhaps I can end this embarrassment.
Mr. Kudo.
Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, no, no.
Let's see, the serving girl brought him a Javicino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The rare act remains. He saw the accused put the poison into the coffee.
Oh, yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Kudo.
Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ha! Found your pen at last, Wright.
It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenn Elg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenn Elg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Mr. Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? It's Viola. I figured that out a while back. Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender.
You's making a big mistake. Do you know who Viola's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean.
Stop shaking, Nick.
Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had a kind of cackling laugh. So she was there. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There is only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real, and once for show. And, Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime is you. Witness, what have you got to say?
That's cute.
Sorry?
You's alright. I could do with a guy like you around.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go.
Something to think about.
You's got it all wrapped up nice, alright? But you's missed out on one real important thing.
But that can't be.
I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too.
Huh?
But I couldn't have placed them, you see.
What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre?
Ha! What a troublemaker.
A troublemaker?
Looks like we're going to need another one for the road.
One more steaming cup of hot testimony.
Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Très Bien between yourself and the victim? Ties to the victim. Here we go.
Yeah, I loaned El Cash about $100,000. That day, he was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000. He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she had done, everything would have been over.
Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000.
Yeah, well, you've got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know.
That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal.
And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question.
Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case.
His motive? He has to have one, but what is it?
It's the virus. Obviously. Ties to the victim. Okay. He loaned Elg $100,000. That day, have a little chat. Anyway, he tells me he's got no way. I'm about to flatten him when he starts screaming, yeah, $500,000. Right. And if the witness hadn't done what she had done, everything would have been over. What was that? Let's press there. The waitress, you mean?
The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten away, things would have been bada bing bada boom. Over and done with.
Maybe I should push a little bit on this. Yes. Ask what Maggie did? Or how things would have been? I mean, we know what he's saying she did. It's obvious. How things would have been. Okay. What do you mean things would have been over... What do you mean things would have been over and done with?
Are you over there what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my 100,000 bucks back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loss, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said.
Ah, the tiger's motive, huh? If he amends it, I was after that. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy. But, wait a minute, we have MC Bomber. Yes, that did it. Because we found it in his office. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct?
I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right.
Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
What are you getting at, Wright? What else would a moneylender be after other than money?
Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch.
What is that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer, you boomer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that's from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. Okay, I want a comic of Phoenix teaching the judge how to use a computer. Like, right now. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial.
What?
Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program?
Exactly.
The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, Wright. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder.
Of course he could, provided that he had time. What if we had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
Ah, the medical bills. It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need money to the tune of $1 million?
The medical papers. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery.
How much of this do you know?
These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs.
No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue.
But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it.
Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright?
Indeed it did. Simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini.
Did you say Cadaverini?
Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, you decided to sacrifice Glen Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glen Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened. But he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win? Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he just happened to have poison on him that day. That's nice. So he resorted to illegitimate means.
That's crazy.
He murdered Glen Elg and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing, in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Hudo.
Like I said, Wright, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it.
But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Oh.
Order! Order! Silence! Sorry, we'll clear that. You've put on a good show, Spiky. Huh? If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid? Created a witness and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that.
I agree.
You do?
Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright?
Interesting. You fill us all in, Wright. What was the trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused?
Let's see. Oh. Yeah, paper badge.
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me.
What? That's
the truth.
But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, well, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here this very court a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen.
Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him?
Good. Hey, forget about it, yeah?
Huh?
I wouldn't do something like that. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh?
Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court, we deal with people's lives.
Mr. Godot is right.
Your Honor.
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
No. We need that bottle.
If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
But we've come so far.
You say he impersonated Glen Elg. You say he impersonated you, but none of that adds up to a murder charge.
You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee.
Huh?
Sucks to be you, Wright. Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. Who's got that?
All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt.
Ah.
Looks like I won't be needing a refill. I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook.
This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre.
Oh, is it Gumshoe?
Your Honor, sir. Wait! Detective!
Detective Gumshoe.
Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this, my badge. The works! So here it is. My heart's counting on this too.
What is it, Detective?
Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final, decisive piece of evidence.
What? January 8th, 2:48 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1.
Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab.
The results?
About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle.
Oh, so do you know who the prints belong to now?
Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know.
So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it.
You bet. Clear as crystal. All over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right.
That's great. We've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now.
Huh? What? Why not?
What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glen Oak's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now.
I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself.
This was our last chance to help Maggie, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's all right. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal.
Detective Gumshoe? Maggie! You've been working on something for me?
Oh, sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it, and I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of here now.
Detective Gumshoe, wait!
He's gone.
Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick?
I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. Interesting question. Alright, January 8th, 3:04 p.m., District Court Room Number 4.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered.
Yes.
Don't keep us all in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally. We can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court. Can't we?
Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste.
How much more of my time are you gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before, but you lawyers shouldn't know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. But maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let off his guard down a little bit.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final, decisive piece of evidence to the court.
All right, I will. This is the defense's final piece of evidence.
Isn't that the victim's...
Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre.
What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone here knows what this bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark.
My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway?
A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and a phony clue. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains... He doesn't know. Oh, we can tell him it has poison in it. Yes. Potassium cyanide. This bottle contains potassium cyanide.
Potassium cyanide?
The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. We're bluffing him. Not even sure this is legal, but we're bluffing him. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that?
Yeah. You'd make a good clown, you know that.
What?
Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. You just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger?
A bluff?
I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it.
No, this is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Wait. That isn't the bottle with the cyanide in it? But what bottle is?
Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and it was made of glass.
Ha ha ha!
That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it.
Oh, he did it now. Got him. At last.
What? Why's everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle...
Is this the bottle you're referring to?
Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But you ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go.
You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said?
What I said? What did I just say?
You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison.
You don't know who you're messing with. I'm the tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the better of me?
Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. Oh my. Lights out. The lights are out. What's going on?
It looks like a blackout.
Well done, Wright. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it while you watch the police restrain your prey.
Okay. Once again, the sacred coffee cup has been thrown. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Oh my gosh, Judge. So now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godot?
He is being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glen Elg, Your Honor.
Well, fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney.
Yes, she was.
And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake.
Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigre is a truly frightening criminal. Ha!
The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Godot.
Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. Court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty.
There we go.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
January 8th, 4:10 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1.
Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I can forgive him.
Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger.
Look, Nick, in the doorway.
Detective Gumshoe.
Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal.
Wait!
Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thanks.
I knew you were innocent all along.
Why didn't you say that in your testimony then?
Huh? Oh, well, I was... Well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around.
Wait up, Detective.
He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medicine bottle.
That wasn't even of any use.
But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly.
Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles.
Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie, you know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this. I wanted to believe that, sir. But on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Oh, do we have the... Yeah. Gumshoe's lunchbox, yep. He had the spare one. Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom. That's... Present from Detective Gumshoe. Made with a ton of love.
He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like weenies, you know. Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know.
Yeah.
The trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. Well, that's nice. So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. Chapter 3, Recipe for Turnabout, the end. All right, so a brand new episode has been added, Turnabout Beginnings. We will save, and I'm going to take a very quick break, and we're going to get back into it. All right, I have returned, and we are ready to go with Turnabout Beginnings. The girl. Let her go. Shut up. Come closer, and I kill her. Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. Bang. Ooh. I'm reading through... Oh, it was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. Named Terry Falls, charged kidnapping, murder, sentenced death penalty. Fugitive movements. After escaping, Falls met with and then murdered Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, recaptured on Eagle Mountain about 8 hours after his escape. Her very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. That was a whole year before Mia and I ever met. I'm reading through the... Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Yep. February 16th, 9:24 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 4. Ugh. I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm gonna die. So we're playing as Mia again in this case, if you hadn't noticed, so... I never should have accepted this case.
Ew! Good morning.
Now don't be so jumpy, Mia.
Oh, I didn't do nothing. I swear. I didn't kill nobody.
Terry Falls, my first client, sentenced to death 5 years ago, and now prison escapee. Just relax, Mia. Make small talk and try to relax him.
So why did you escape anyway? I'm sorry.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. I didn't escape from nowhere.
But Mr. Falls, the police just recaptured you 2 days ago.
Sorry. I told a little lie.
Oh boy.
But anyway, I didn't do it. I never killed nobody.
I'm sorry for asking, but you're on death row, right?
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
They sentenced me to die 5 years ago, but I was tricked, I tell you. That woman, she lied in her testimony. That's where I got the death penalty. I swear it. I didn't kill her. I could never do that.
2 days ago, he escaped from the police wagon when it crashed. Then about 8 hours later, a policewoman was murdered before the police could recapture him. The police believe that Terry Falls did it. After you escaped, did you meet a policewoman?
Yeah, I did. She's the reason I escaped.
So that much is true. He did meet with the victim.
But I didn't kill her. She was alive when I left. She was alive. It's true.
I can trust him, right? I mean, I should. You're not gonna figure out the truth by just staring at the guy.
Oh.
Why are you here? I came to see how our little kitten was doing all alone in the big scary lion's den. I thought maybe you'd like someone to play with. Where's Mr. Grossberg? That old man's probably still in bed. I bet he's clutching an empty bottle and mumbling in his sleep. Aren't I good enough? After all, it's me, Diego Armando.
I didn't say...
So, Diego Armando, the finest attorney at Grossberg Law Offices, is here for me? Oh, no. You've got it all wrong. Today, you're the finest. After all, it took an amazing amount of guts to take this case. Imagine, an escaped death row convict for a first client.
Yeah, thanks. I sure wish I could get out of it, though.
Relax. I just heard some good news. The prosecutor for today is fresh out of his diapers as well.
Really?
However, unlike a certain somebody who I won't mention, he's earned the reputation as a genius since beginning his law career.
Oh, who could that be?
Genius? Well, it's about time to head in, kitten. Sharpen those claws of yours. It's go time.
Diego Armando, a brand new character we've never met before.
Solitary confinement cell for the condemned must be the world's loneliest place. And that's what my client ran away from. Every other lawyer gave up on him, but not me. When I saw those overflowing eyes and heard that simple childlike voice, I just had the feeling that he was telling the truth. February 16th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 4.
Court is now in session for the trial of Terry Falls.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. I understand the lawyers for both sides are newcomers.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm Mia Fey.
Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. So you're the new prosecutor everyone's talking about, eh? They say you joined the prosecutor's office at quite an early age. At 20, Your Honor. I guess our little kitten hasn't earned herself much of a reputation yet, huh?
Come on, Mia. You can't lose. Not to someone younger than you.
Young people running a trial. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. And now then, the defendant in this case is currently a felon on death row. 2 days ago, he escaped from a police wagon, is that correct?
Precisely. But the defendant is not on trial for escaping prison. On the day that the defendant escaped, a policewoman was murdered. So we're here to determine if Mr. Falls was responsible for her death? You got it, kitten.
Well then, Mr. Edgeworth, let's hear your opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor. It was 5 years ago. The defendant, Terry Falls, was sentenced to death in this very court. His crimes were kidnapping, extortion, and murder. The girl he threw off the bridge was only 14 years old.
A truly horrible crime. I remember it well. There was no decisive evidence, so the trial was long and protracted.
Correct. But in the end, what finally decided the case was a certain witness's testimony. A little interesting touch here, by the way. Young Edgeworth has all of the same animations as Von Karma in the first game. A witness's testimony? The testimony of Detective Valerie Hawthorne, the person who confronted this criminal. She arrested Mr. Falls at the scene and later testified against him. She said she witnessed Mr. Falls throw his young victim into the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. So Miss Hawthorne's testimony was the one that put him away.
That policewoman you just mentioned, that wouldn't be...
Exactly. The victim. The same woman that was killed 2 days ago. Police Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne.
I see. The man who was sentenced to death based on her testimony escaped 2 days ago with only one thing on his mind, to take revenge against the woman who convicted him. Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now.
Huh?
Yes. It's quite obvious that the defendant is guilty.
Wait a minute, that's not right. At least hear the case before you decide on the outcome, Your Honor.
Watch yourself, Miss Fay. I'm not sure I care for your word choice or your tone of voice.
Young people these days simply don't know how to respect their elders. Boy, you're even younger than me, you hypocrite.
But now then, Mr. Edgeworth, please call your first witness.
I called the detective who was in charge of the initial investigation of this case. See, look, he's wearing a different coat. He said so.
Witness,
state your name and occupation.
Gumshoe, Dick Gumshoe. I'm the homicide detective in charge of this case, sir. I finally got promoted to the detective division half a year ago.
I don't believe anyone asked you about that.
Hey, ma'am, you got any idea how much work it takes?
What is it?
You're really gorgeous.
Excuse me?
No, seriously, my heart. It's aching for you.
Detective, pull yourself together and try to be professional. Otherwise, I'll write you up on contempt so quick that something other than your heart will ache.
Okay, I got it. Now, detective, tell us about the incident. Yes, sir, right away. The victim was Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, a veteran on the police force. She was stabbed in the back with a knife and died from excessive blood loss. That much is already stated in the autopsy report. The court would like to hear more details about the incident itself. Yes, sir, I gotcha. Okay, let's take a look at this aerial map of the area here. This is a sketch of Dusky Bridge, an old suspension bridge, and the river that runs under there is Eagle River. The victim and the defendant met there on top of the bridge. After stabbing her in the back, the killer carried the victim back to his car. He was recaptured at a police checkpoint as he was trying to make his getaway, sir. I see.
Dusky Bridge map. Bridge located 40 feet above the Eagle River.
Was the victim's blood found on the bridge? The victim, Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, was wearing a thick coat, sir. Unfortunately, no traces of blood were found on the bridge. Mr. Edgeworth, I warn you that I absolutely despise conjecture. If there was no blood on the bridge, then you have no proof that they even met there.
Your Honor, if you would listen to the testimony we've prepared, I'm sure you'll be convinced. The two of them most certainly did meet on the bridge that day.
Why, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm not sure I like you wagging your finger at me as though I were some hoser. Detective, proceed with your testimony. Yes, sir.
Here we go, Mia. Hang on. Okay, now. Listen carefully, kitten. One mistake and this guy will drink you for morning tea. Trust me and get ready. Alright, summary of the incident. Go.
On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Falls. And that's where she was brutally murdered, sir. The criminal stuffed the body into his car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Falls was arrested at a police checkpoint we set up at the base of the mountain. Well, you certainly have established the importance of the bridge.
Naturally.
Now, would the defense please hurry up and proceed with the cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examination. Coming right up. Hey, settle down there, kitten. If you keep trembling like that, you're gonna make me spill my coffee. I'm not trembling, it's just cold in here. The courtroom can be a cold battlefield, all right? Especially for a beginner. I don't need you to worry about me. I mean, the defendant, the witness. Yeah, everyone's a beginner in here. You got me there. But maybe you should keep your claws out and show them what you've got, kitten. It's okay, Mia. Stay calm. And just remember those court procedure videos you stayed up all night watching. All right. Cross-examination. Summary of the incident. I like to think she was like watching YouTube, like law stuff all night. On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Okay. This unknown person, you have no idea who it might be, right?
Sorry, but I'm afraid I do.
What?
The one who called Sergeant Hawthorne was the defendant, Terry Falls. What? The defendant? The defendant called her? Sergeant Hawthorne was a very thorough person, sir. She left a note about her phone call with Mr. Falls.
A note?
Yeah, a top-secret memo that she left in her desk.
Victim's note. Confidential police materials. Oh.
According to this note, it seems the one who called her to the bridge was indeed the defendant, Terry Falls.
Whose bright idea was it to keep that note from me? Well, whose do you think it was? Confidential note. Okay, let's look at it. February 14th, 1:21 p.m. Falls, 4:30 p.m. at that bridge. Wear white scarf for identification. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. Interesting. And then we have the map of Dusky Bridge from what he talked about earlier. And the autopsy. Looks like the judge is even more sure of his verdict now. Listen up. Never ask a question if you don't already know the answer. It's that detective's fault. He's the one that said unknown person.
Hey, now, don't make that face at me. I just said it that way because the prosecutor told me to.
Was that a trap? With that cute face, I didn't expect him to be so sneaky. Yes, we're dealing with the updated autopsy report era, Edgeworth. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge. A bridge up in the mountains? But why meet there?
Because it is a very important place to the defendant. That's why. What do you mean by that?
If you remember, 5 years ago, the defendant kidnapped a young girl. He was chased onto a bridge, and it was there that he killed his hostage. And the place where all of this occurred is, of course, Dusky Bridge.
The very place where Sergeant Hawthorne arrested and handcuffed Mr. Falls.
Ha! Returning to the scene of the crime. Oh, nostalgic.
And that's where she was brutally murdered, sir.
Right. Was the body of the victim discovered right away?
Yeah, we were really on the ball. We found the criminal within 1 hour of the murder. It was great. We even got to say, "Don't move. We got you surrounded."
Wait a second. Isn't there something weird about that? The location was a suspension bridge up in the mountains. So how did they find out about the crime so quickly? Sergeant Hawthorne must have mentioned the phone call to someone else, right? If that's what had happened, then she wouldn't have been killed.
She never mentioned the phone call from Mr. Falls, but she left a note on the desk about it. If only I had noticed it earlier, maybe she'd still be alive.
I wonder why she didn't mention the phone call to anyone. Yeah. The criminal stuffed her body into his trunk. Mr. Falls had a car then?
Well, that bridge is way up in the mountains, ma'am. The defendant and the victim both went up there by car. I mean, how else, right? What? You mean the defendant drove his own car? Well, no, of course not. It was stolen. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light. Car thieves. I'm not sure how I feel about car thieves.
Is this guy sure about how he feels about anything?
This is a photo of the stolen car's trunk. Naturally, that's the body of Valerie Hawthorne in there. Whoa, that doesn't look too comfortable.
Thanks. Thanks, new judge. Crime photo. A photo of the trunk of Falls' car. Okay. The victim. She was stabbed in the back, correct?
Yeah.
Ha. For some reason, men always seem to get stabbed in the back. We're talking about a woman here.
You can't tell from this photo, but the knife was stuck in their back nice and firm. The condition of the body when it was discovered is very important information. Detective, was there anything strange or noteworthy in the trunk of the car?
Here's a photo of the trunk. I don't see anything strange to you. Wait. Yeah, the lock's broken. What's that about? Is that it? That the lock's broken? Or no, would that make sense that the lock's broken? Let's see. Let's see, 430, wear a white scarf. Oh, wait a minute. Whiskey Bridge. She's not wearing a white scarf, is she? That's odd. Falls at 4:30 p.m. that bridge. Wear a white scarf for identification. Yeah, that's the contradiction. Witness?
What is it? Do you have something to say, Miss Faye?
I'm sorry. I totally forgot what I was going to say. This is the first time I've ever had to actually address someone like that.
You should have practiced before coming to court. Honestly, Miss Faye, I'm not sure I like this.
Say there, little kitten. You want a piece of my coffee candy? Candy? Well, you're still too young to be drinking real coffee. Oh, come on, Mia. Shake it off. You're a lawyer. Detective!
Yes, ma'am?
This photo. You said that there was nothing peculiar about it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well then, I suggest you take another look at the note written by the victim.
The note?
It very clearly says, wear white scarf for identification. The caller must have forgotten what the victim looked like. Thus, this special request. I have one very simple question for you, Detective. Where is the white scarf? I can't seem to find it in this photo.
Well, to be honest, we didn't find it in the trunk, ma'am.
And you stopped there? You should have looked for it.
Ah! The caller told her to wear it to identify herself, so I'd expect she did just that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this?
About this, I should say. I see the defense is a little lacking.
Huh?
The scarf you were searching for so desperately for, is it this one, perchance? Oh.
Ah! Where'd you find that, sir?
On Dusky Bridge. I was there first and decided to conduct my own investigation.
Why? What did you tell me?
I made a decision to keep all pieces of evidence in my personal satchel. It's the safest place I know. The hotshot sure has a flair for the dramatic. It's not exactly white, as the caller requested, but as you can see, it's close enough for what it was intended for.
It looks like it spent some time in the mud.
Not surprising. It was drizzling on the mountain that day. Prosecutor Edgeworth, he was intentionally hiding that scarf the whole time.
The court will accept the scarf into evidence.
Scarf, worn by the victim at the time of the incident, found on Dusky Bridge. All right. Now, if the attorney for the defense is finished embarrassing herself, I'd like to move on with the testimony. That is all right with you, isn't it, Miss Fay? Boy, would I like to wrap this scarf around his smarmy little neck. Very good. Now, if we're done with this mud-covered scarf business, the prosecution moves to establish conclusively, and with hard evidence, that Miss Hawthorne and Mr. Falls did indeed meet on the bridge that day. Further, we will show exactly what occurred there.
That sounds quite promising. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Everything is moving at his whim. Don't forget, kitten. There's a reason why everyone considers this kid a genius. Genius, huh? Events on Dusky Bridge. Alright, there's an eyewitness.
Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. This photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows the Vic wearing the scarf, sir. It was drizzling that day. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to see what's going on. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. That must have been when the scarf fell off.
On the bridge?
Looking at this photo, you really get the sense that this bridge is very high up.
It is about a 40-foot drop from the bridge to the Eagle River down below.
Mr. Edgeworth, who took this photo anyway?
Let's just say that it was a well-intentioned third party.
Aha! A potential witness. So why isn't this person in the courtroom? Well, they said they absolutely did not want to testify.
The person in question is very delicate, Your Honor. Besides, as long as we have this photo, we see no reason to compel them to testify.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Witness's photo seems to have been taken by the witness. So, as you can see, Terry Foles had both the motive and the opportunity. I think it's quite clear at this point what happened on that bridge.
Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now.
Huh?
Yes, it's quite obvious. He's clearly guilty.
Not again! That's not fair! I haven't even done my cross-examination yet!
What do you mean, huh?
Alright, cross-examination. The events on Dusky Bridge. Here we go. Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there. Who is this eyewitness?
She's a college student.
A female college student? Huh, wonder who that could be.
That's right, meaning she's female and a college student, ma'am. She doesn't do well in front of other people, so I came to testify for her.
Maybe so, but as the attorney for the defense, I have the right to cross-examine her. For the time being, we're not relying on the witness's statements. That is all. What is that supposed to mean? The prosecution has other, more decisive evidence. Our case doesn't rest on the vague testimony of a female college student.
A female college student, eh? It means she's female and the college student, sir.
If you absolutely must hear her testimony, you'll have to give us a good reason why.
Please tell us about the more decisive evidence in question.
Right, photo. Yeah. The victim is wearing a scarf in the photo, all right. So, about the witness who took this photo, what was this person doing all the way in the mountains?
She was taking photos of wildflowers, apparently.
There are many unusual types of flora on that mountain, Miss Fay. People in the area say it's because of the spirits that live there.
Spirits? Well, now that you mention it, this photo, this cloudy fog-like thing, is it a ghost? I don't believe it. No, Your Honor, no, I don't think it's a ghost.
I hope not. This is a different... Taking pictures and having ghosts show up, that's a whole different game. Alright. Drizzling, huh?
That's right. There was a light rain coming down. The whole place was dreary. But not as dreary as the mood that's in this courtroom right now. Looks like a cold front just moved in.
In any case... Right. The point is that the area was quite damp. Yes, we somehow downgraded the judge. Yes. Yes, we have. There was even some fog.
I even slipped and fell while I was on the bridge. It was really something.
Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Is that part of the witness's testimony as well?
Of course it is. He pushed the victim hard in the back and she fell down right in the stomach. I remember that happening once myself. It was really brutal.
Are you talking about seeing someone get pushed, or were you the one getting pushed? Or does it mean that you pushed someone down like that once? With his mind-boggling tales and the way he said brutal, I wonder if he's Canadian. Ha! Save your nasty look for the right person. Oh, does Mia not like Canadians? Huh? Take a look. Poor baby. The court record seems to have wet itself. Hey! Watch where you spill your coffee! The court record, huh? Wait. Hey, talk about a surprise. I had no idea there was a photo. So what do I do? You really still believe him, Mr. Crybaby, I mean? Of course I do! So the little kitten believes in fairy tales, huh? In that case, the answer is obvious. If what you believe is the truth, then that means that somewhere, hidden in that testimony, is a contradiction. One huge contradiction. When it be discovered, that's your chance. Alright. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind. Let's see. Well... The criminal shoved the victim... So, I mean, I feel like I got a big hint that this is the statement that there's a contradiction on, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. Let's see. So we got witness photo, crime photo. Wait a minute. He shoved her down and stabbed her in the back. So if they're arguing that the mud... Let me think about this for a second. Okay, so they found this on the bridge and it was dirty. But if they're arguing she was shoved down, there's no dirt at all on her coat. It's quite clean. So that's a contradiction. I think that might be it. Yes, got it. So at the time of the crime, there was a light drizzle coming down, correct?
Yeah, and fog too. Just a generally soggy atmosphere.
Well, I have evidence that doesn't go with that soggy atmosphere.
But this is a photo of the victim's body that was found in the car trunk.
Considering the conditions at the scene of the crime, something isn't right.
Well, by all means, please enlighten us as to what isn't right. What is it about this photo of the trunk that doesn't fit with the conditions that day?
The front. Naturally, the answer is right here.
The victim's coat? As far as I can see, there's nothing strange about it.
That's exactly what's strange. Recall the testimony. What were the conditions on the bridge that day? It was drizzling and foggy. Dusky bridge was all wet. If the victim really had fallen down on her stomach on top of that bridge, then the front of her coat should have been covered in mud.
Ugh. That's exactly right. The other day I fell on a muddy street and my gorgeous playoff beard was befouled.
Playoff beard? I do admit the crime scene was quite wet that day. However, that doesn't mean that the top of the bridge itself was muddy. If Your Honor had fallen in the shower instead of on a muddy street, your glorious hockey beard, pride of the legal league, would be wet, but not muddy.
Fortunately, I have yet to test that. Still, your point is well taken.
So he's a hockey judge?
Can you prove that the surface of that bridge was muddy that day?
The surface of the bridge, huh? Yes, the scarf. I'm way ahead of you.
Huh. A real man wouldn't stand for a taunt like this.
Neither would a real woman. Of course I can. Here is the evidence that proves the surface of the bridge was muddy. The scarf. Easy. The evidence is this scarf.
Ugh!
It should be obvious. If the scarf fell onto the bridge and got this muddy, it means that the bridge was obviously covered in mud.
No, I can't be outwitted by this novice bimbo.
Hey, same to you, buddy.
Miss Faye's assertion makes perfect sense to me. I do admit that there appears to be a contradiction between the condition of the victim's coat and her scarf. However, the real question is, why is there a contradiction?
Huh? For every contradiction, there exists an explanation. Let's look at what the explanation in this case may be, shall we? All right. It's not like he's really giving me a choice here. Ha! You're doing pretty well for a little kitten. Mr. Armando. No matter what he says, a contradiction always comes down to a lie. It's either the victim discovered in the trunk, the witness's photo showing the defendant and the victim, or the witness's testimony that stated that she saw the moment of the murder. Just relax and think it over. It's pretty simple, isn't it? The false evidence, it's one of those three. One of those things is fake, okay?
What you said just now, I'm not sure I like that.
That wasn't me, Your Honor. It was the coffee aficionado over here that said it.
This court is not in the habit of accepting false evidence, you know.
Blame it on him, Your Honor. He's the one trying to slip false evidence into court. But we won't let him. We'll expose his evidence as the flimsy scam it really is. Yes, the false evidence in this case is the... Is it the photo, the body, or the test? I bet it's the photo. Because yeah. About the photo that the prosecution claims was taken by a witness. It certainly seems to show a man in a prison uniform and a woman in a coat. However, we can't tell any more than that from the photo. Are you saying the people in the photo may not be the victim and the defendant? Well, that's certainly a possibility. Or did I? Maybe it was the testimony. So perhaps it was another prisoner and policewoman. I admit, people have their quirks. Perhaps they were part of a role-playing group. Crazy that there are two separate and completely different characters who are obsessed with coffee who are definitely not the same person. I know, right? Two characters in the Phoenix Wright series, which are known for very unique, standout characters with kind of wild traits. they would have the same trait. Kind of boring. I don't know why they did that. Well, I suppose that's also possible, I guess. You messed up again, kitten. Mr. Armando, there should be something else that's even more suspicious. Now think the whole thing over again.
From this point on, Miss Fay, I will penalize you for making up unsubstantiated accusations.
Don't do it, Mia. Don't cry until you get home.
In any case, this court is not in the habit of accepting false evidence. Blame it on him.
Okay. Yeah. Going through this again. So, I think it's the testimony that's the problem. Because we don't have the witness. It is a no-brainer. Obviously, it's the witness that's suspicious. During his earlier testimony, the detective pointed out a crucial fact. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Now, is that testimony exactly what the witness claims to have seen?
Yeah, that's what the witness told us.
That testimony is filled with holes. After all, the victim's coat isn't dirty at all.
That's true.
It's not just true, it's the truth. If there was a truly decisive witness in this case, I'm certain that boy Wonder over there would have called them in the first place. Your Honor, the defense requests to cross-examine the eyewitness. The testimony presented so far is not only vague, but contradictory as well.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, it appears that we'll need to hear from your mystery witness after all.
You should brace yourself for the brutal truth.
Huh?
Your Honor, the prosecution has no intention of hiding the witness from the court. We are prepared to present our witness at any time.
Very well. Please bring forth your witness at this time.
What Mr. Edgeworth said kind of worries me. What does he mean by the brutal truth? I don't know.
No. Let's proceed with the testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, please go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution summons the woman who saw the events that day with her very own eyes. This is it, Mia. The battle begins here. Witness, what is your name and occupation? Well, well, well. Here's another new character we've never seen before, right? Everyone is so silent that I can hear their hearts going pitter-patter.
Oh! When I look at you, how can I put it? You look as scrumptious as a double-double in a dozen donut holes. I feel like I want to hurry up and hand down a verdict. Just have a bite.
Hey, not so fast. As I said before, this witness is very sensitive and delicate. I would ask the court to please exercise care when addressing her.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. You are a true gentleman. Miss Fay, you could learn a lot from this man.
He's such a gentleman, he sure doesn't act like one to me. Sir?
Oh, yes, my dear.
This is my first time, so I'm sure I'll make a lot of mistakes. Anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for all the trouble I might cause.
Not at all. It's no trouble at all.
Now then, may we please have your name and occupation? My name is, Melissa Foster. Wait a minute. I'm a college student, a freshman in the literature department. You were on the scene when the unfortunate event occurred, correct? And you were the one who took this photo? Is that accurate? How can you be so mean?
Well, now see here. What are you doing shoving that in her face like that?
Huh? But it's just a photograph. It's not like it's something dangerous.
Next time I'll be forced to penalize you.
Oh, I don't like the turn this is taken. Is she staring at me? You would be? Huh? I'm the defense attorney. My name is Mia Fey. I see. So you are...
Now then, young lady, could you please give us your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll do my best.
All right, the witness's photograph.
I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers. Then I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly, they just started fighting. That's when I hurried and took the photo that shows the crucial moment. And right after that, I called the police.
Okay. Wait, she took the photo that shows the crucial moment? That's not a crucial moment. That's just two people looking at each other.
By the way, where were you standing when the incident occurred?
I believe the map would be of help here.
I was standing right over here. I was standing in a beautiful field surrounded by tall cliffs.
So you took the photo from that location, eh?
I brought the camera I was using at the time, just like Mr. Edgeworth asked me to.
Oh, what a cute camera! Just like its owner.
Camera. Melissa Foster took the witness's photo with this, a small but powerful model.
All right then, Miss Faye, time for your cross-examination. But I warn you, make the witness cry again, and you'll feel the wrath of my gavel.
The witness's photograph. So I'm immediately suspicious of the I took a photo of the crucial moment thing. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers. I noticed there were two people up on the bridge. Suddenly they just started fighting. Took the photo. I'm gonna press this one. Why did you take a photo?
Well, the two of them were really going at it. But since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a news reporter. I guess that part of me just kind of took over.
Smells like a lie to me.
Yes, I understand completely. Even now, I can't completely abandon my boyhood dreams. I still use my grandson to test my comedy routines on.
So he wanted to be a comedian, huh? Not that it has any bearing on this.
All I could do was use my camera. So I took the photo of the crucial moment and gave it to the police.
Alright. That's when I hurried. So yeah, she's saying they're fighting, but they're not. I mean, to me, this seems like a contradiction. It is. Nice. Witness, when you said you took a photo of the crucial moment, is this what you meant? All I can see in this photo are two people facing each other. You testified that you saw the two of them starting to fight. Normally, that's the kind of thing we would refer to as a crucial moment. Why haven't you presented a photo like that?
Oh, well, you see...
The photo we presented was the only one there was. But if you really wanted to capture the crucial moment, then what happened next? You must have taken a photo of it.
No! My apologies, young lady. But Miss Faye's assertion is not without a certain amount of merit.
He can certainly downplay a situation, can't he?
I'm sorry. I'm a very bad girl. I used it all up. The film, I mean.
You ran out of film?
This photo was the last one.
What?
Unfortunately, that is the truth. I personally examined all of the photographs she took that day. All the other photos are of the witness herself, playing among the wildflowers. So she was taking selfies? The witness herself? Then who took the photos?
Well, you see, my camera has a timer feature built into it.
So you took photos of yourself?
I remember taking some photos of myself once too.
Please, no details.
It seems that Miss Faye's assertion was not so decisive after all.
Wait, just a minute.
Well, if she had no film left, she couldn't very well take more pictures, eh?
Miss Foster, perhaps then you could tell us about a different sort of photo. Photos of the incident that you took with your very eyes.
Mr. Edgeworth, you're quite the poet.
Very well then, let's get back to the cross-examination. Let's hear your thoughts on the fight that you witnessed.
Yes, Mr. Judge.
Boy, this guy is really a sucker for sweet talk.
It looks like the other kitten in the room is the one that's getting all the attention.
Yeah, it's sickening. Using my camera to take some pictures, then I noticed that there were two people. Suddenly they just started fighting. The victim turned around and tried to run away, but she was only about 10 yards before she got stabbed in the back. Okay. Okay. Victim... Alright, and suddenly they just... So, this is weird. This is whole new testimony, but we didn't, like, go through it. That's odd. So I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers, then I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly they just started fighting. The victim turned around and tried to run away, but she only got about 10 yards before she was stabbed in the back. Alright, hang on. She got about 10 yards away, huh? Wait. But the bridge was out. What's this out? What? 5 yards. So they got 10 yards. No, that doesn't make any sense. That seems contradictory. Yes, got it. Witness, your testimony is a joke.
Huh? What? But I just...
Miss Faye! I thought I warned you not to make the witness cry.
One short testimony and two bad contradictions. There's no possible excuse.
You say there were two contradictions?
It's simple. Just take a look at the diagram of the area. According to her testimony, the two of them were in the middle of the bridge. But if they were, and the victim had turned around and tried to run, well then...
She would have hit a dead end.
You said 10 yards, but she couldn't have even run 5, because Dusky Bridge has collapsed on that side.
Wah!
Yeah.
What does all this mean?
It's very simple, Your Honor. This charming little witness told a charming little lie. That's all there is to it.
This beautiful young lady has been lying to the court.
Just a moment, Your Honor.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Your Honor, allow me to personally apologize for the confusion.
What do you mean?
There's one major mistake in this diagram.
What did you say?
What are you referring to?
It's all because this diagram was made after the incident occurred. It's a very old bridge. We couldn't find any official fingerprints on it, or blueprints of it.
So you're saying...
I'm saying that even though this bridge is currently in disrepair, there's no evidence that can prove that the bridge was broken during the incident.
That's ridiculous!
You can't actually tell the condition of this bridge from the photo. I apologize to the court for not being more clear when I presented the evidence.
Ha! That guy's good.
Huh? What do you mean?
He planned it from the beginning. He's a genius, all right. That diagram of the bridge was his insurance policy. What? That coward!
Well, Miss Faye, it seems you've once again made a reckless accusation.
Huh? I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful myself.
No, it wasn't your fault at all.
And now then, shall we go on with the trial? I'd like to establish once and for all what it was that the witness actually saw.
Indeed. All right, young lady. May I ask you to please proceed with your testimony?
But it's so hard to go on.
We're all on your side, Miss Foster.
There's no need to worry. Just tell us what you saw.
Yes, sir.
All right, running from the crime. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Then he carried her over to the car. Okay? I suppose it was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. I'm sorry, I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw. What? That's weird.
Witnessing such violence must have been difficult.
Yes, sir. I'm still shaken up. If he accepts this testimony as it is, we're finished. Don't say that. Oh well, maybe I'll stop off at my favorite cafe on the way home. They make a really great mocha latte. This trial isn't over yet. That's what I like to hear.
All right, Miss Fay. Your cross-examination, if you please.
The contradiction is staring you right in the face, Mia. Go on the attack.
All right. Okay. After he stabbed her in the back, he picked her up in his arms.
Are you saying that the victim didn't fall down on the bridge? Actually, maybe she did fall.
Of course she didn't fall down on the bridge. If she'd fallen down, this photo wouldn't make any sense. If that was the case, her coat could have been all muddy. Yep. If you don't mind, I was asking the witness. No need to be so rude.
Well, young lady?
Of course she didn't fall down. The man in the prison uniform grabbed her before she could. We're one step too slow.
And then, what did the defendant do after that? And then he carried her over to the car. Got it?
You personally witnessed that? Yes.
Did anything strange happen when he did that?
Well, I don't know if you'd call it strange or not, but that's when the victim's scarf fell off.
You mean this scarf?
Her words match what we found at the scene. I don't see any problem.
I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden.
You mean the defendant carried the body all by himself?
Yes.
Considering the size of the defendant, I don't think it would be difficult.
Yes, but let's remember they were on a narrow bridge that was ready to collapse. Is it even possible for him to have carried a dead body on a bridge like that?
Well, the fact of the matter is that he did. That kind of talk is just silly.
Wow. Why did he get so emotional all of a sudden?
Miss Fay, if you think there's some other possibility, please share it with the rest of us.
Okay. Let's see. That was the only way he could have made sure the body stayed hidden. The only way? Wait a minute. No, there was like trees and stuff. I mean, he could dump the body into the river. He could hide it in the trees. No, that makes no sense. Yeah.
A killer not wanting his victim to be found. I can understand that. However, the idea of moving the body for that purpose is clearly odd. There was a much easier way to make sure the body wasn't found.
Well, what is it?
Take another look at the map of the area and you'll see how. There's a river right below the bridge. Earlier, Mr. Edgeworth pointed out something interesting about the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is known for its current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. Yep.
Ugh!
In the kidnapping case 5 years ago, the victim's body was carried away and never found. If 10 murders were to occur at the same spot above the Eagle River, you can bet your boots that every other killer would have tossed the body in the water.
Yep.
Order! 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 I'm not sure if I care for the way you put that, Miss Fay, but I must admit it does seem odd not to have thrown the body into the river.
Oh.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
How sad. Perhaps Miss Fay would do well to try taking a dip in the river herself. After all, you claim to be such an expert in the ways of nature.
What are you talking about?
My point is that no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is that this is what the killer did. None of your arguments have anything to do with what the witness saw.
Quite true. Miss Fay, it seems that your assertion is without merit after all.
But what the witness claims to have seen is totally ridiculous.
Surely you can't deny that the body was found in the trunk of the car.
That's certainly consistent with what the witness has told us.
Please, witness, go on with your testimony.
I'll try.
All you have to do is tell us only what you saw. Otherwise, the mean lady might yell at you again. Who's he talking about?
All right, I'll do my best.
Alright. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Then he carried her over. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. Alright, well, I did notice the lock is broken. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw. And after he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms and he carried her over to the car. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Why? Why do you say that? It's already a broken down bridge hidden away in the mountains. Doing anything more to hide the corpse would be going overboard, wouldn't it?
Yes, but that mountain is famous among hikers. A surprising number of people go up there.
But it's February, right? And it was raining that day, correct?
There's also a small temple and a channeling dojo there.
A channeling dojo?
You know those monks. They just love cold, isolated places.
I think the witness is trying to say that the corpse could have been found at any time. Besides, the witness is merely reporting what she witnessed with her own eyes. Sorry, I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw.
And you're absolutely certain that it was my client who was carrying the body? Well, he was wearing a prisoner's uniform, but as for his face...
So you're saying you didn't get a clear look at his face?
Well, they were far away and it was raining as well. I thought I was only supposed to say exactly what I saw.
Excellent! You're a remarkably honest young woman.
Something about this testimony is bothering me, but what?
Hey, kitten. Have you ever put salt in your coffee?
No, why would I?
Why not?
Huh?
It may actually go better with coffee than sugar, right? Listen, my point is, if you're not sure, you might as well add a ton of salt to it. It might bring out the rust in something like a piece of evidence.
He's right, Mia. Go present something. You've got nothing to lose.
By the way, I wouldn't put salt in my coffee. The two don't go well, after all.
After he stabbed her in the back, he picked it up. Okay. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. Hang on. So... he broke into the trunk and he hid the body in there. Okay. Stabbed with a knife in the back, died from blood loss between 4 a.m. and 5 p.m. Camera has a timer function. That's the photo. Let's do a little more pressing.
What did the man do then? Well, naturally, he got in the car and was about to flee. That's when I came to my senses. I said to myself, you have to call the police.
And so that's when you called the police.
You're sure that you saw all that with your own eyes?
Yes, I'm 100% certain. Okay. Couldn't just leave it. Then he carried her over to the car. Okay.
You personally witnessed that?
Yes. Did anything strange happen when he did that?
Well, I don't know if you'd call it strange or not, but that's when the victim's scarf fell off.
Okay, yes, there we go. We found it. Yeah. Something... After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up. Are you saying that the victim didn't fall down on the bridge? Actually, maybe she did fall. Of course she didn't fall. Okay, so this is kind of the similar. Her coat would have been muddy, right? We got all that. The killer broke into the trunk and hid the body there. Okay. So we got that. The scarf fell off, and then he broke into the trunk of the stolen car. Okay. What is all that, like, stuff on it? Wait. I'm trying to think about what she just said. He broke into the trunk of the stolen car? Why would he need to break in? Why would he need to break the lock when he obviously had the keys to the car? Because he stole the car, so he had the car keys. Yeah. Photo of the trunk of Falls' car. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body there. Yeah. Wait. Your Honor, what do you think of this witness's statement? This isn't right?
I don't think anything of it. How about you?
I guess I don't think anything of it either.
Then we don't have a problem, but we do have a penalty.
Yikes. That's too bad. If there wasn't a problem, couldn't he just let it slide? The killer broke... Oh. Hang on. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body. Did I present it the wrong thing? No. What? Oh. Okay. I'm wrong? The killer... Wait. Oh. Hang on a second. So, that's the wrong thing? Maybe I'm on the right track, just on the wrong... Okay. So he broke in to the trunk of the stolen car, and he hid the body in there. Let's see. So let me look at this photo here. So he's got his like ball and chain he's holding. And let's see. Crime photo, Dusky Bridge, victim. I'm not. Is it this photo? Let's see. What it is? I'm confused. Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time. Done what? Made a crucial mistake.
A crucial mistake? Like what, Miss Faye?
The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your very own eyes? Yes, and? It's simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at the diagram. Oh! I'm seeing what the actual contradiction is here. So, the contradiction, map-wise, she can't see it. She can only see a little bit from where she was supposed to be. I get it. Now, my line of reasoning was that why, if he had the keys to the car, would he need to break the lock? Somebody else would have to break the lock, but not the guy who stole the car. The place you claim to have taken the photo from that day is here. Do you see what I mean? Even if you tried to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way. Okay. Different line of reasoning then. I was presenting, to try to present my line of reasoning. That's right, Miss Foster. From where you were standing, you could not have possibly seen the killer's car. I admit the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall that it would stop her from seeing the car. That's right. It's not high at all. I was able to see his car just fine. I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash. I believe it was the witness who presented this as evidence to the court, yes? This is the location that the photo was taken from. Your own photo tells the whole story. You can clearly see the left side of the bridge. But the outcropping that is being referred to is really more like a cliff.
Ah!
Your view should have been completely cut off by this cliff, but still you claim to have been able to see the killer's car.
No! Order in the court! What is the meaning of all this ballyhoo?
Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee fled in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate that the witness was very upset. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself that she saw it. But she was repeatedly warned before stating her testimony. She was told to testify only what she saw with her own eyes.
Oh!
Mr. Judge?
What is it?
I think I must have remembered things wrong. Hey, wait a minute! You can't just say that! Miss Fey, no one on the face of the planet is perfect.
Yes, indeed. Quite true. You know what they say. To err is human. To forgive, divine. I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt to our witness here.
What?
That's not fair.
Ha! Save the tears for later, kitten. Mr. Armando. Don't look back until the trial is over. Now is the time to go forward.
But that wasn't fair.
Okay, kitten. You need to relax. And then you need to remember the other kitten's testimony. Let's see, the killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body there. So tell me, how did she know that? How did she know that he broke into the trunk? Aha! Ah. Well, Miss Foster, until you can explain how you knew that, you're gonna have a lot of very suspicious people on this side of the courtroom.
Well, witness?
Well, I'm certain that he broke into the trunk because there were marks left on the trunk lid. I'm certain they were scratch marks from when he broke into it.
What? Let me see that photo.
They're there. Yep.
It's true. These certainly look like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious that this trunk has been broken open. Well, Miss Fey, are you satisfied?
The judge is on her side. I can't make any mistakes here. What she just said, is there a contradiction in there somewhere? I'm gonna say it doesn't work. Because, like... Yeah. Melissa Foster, it looks like you finally betrayed yourself. What? You said you were in a field taking photos of wildflowers, but even so, you knew about the scratches. The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches? Yeah. Finally. I finally got her. I'm getting pretty tired of waiting over here. Then perhaps it would be faster if Miss Fey explained herself. Your Honor, there's only one possible explanation. The reason the witness had seen the scratches was... she's the owner of the car, she happened to be passing by, she put the corpse in herself. Yep. There's only one way that the witness had the chance to see those scratches.
Yes, what is it?
Naturally, when she opened the trunk and stuffed the corpse in herself. The person who really hid the body in the trunk of that car was... Melissa Foster. It was you that did it, wasn't it? That's ridiculous. I could never... It was the man in the prison garb. He's the one that... I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Falls had been the one that put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There was no need to break it open. But he stole the car. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light, which means that the key would have still been in the ignition. Oh, I see. Thank you, Mia. I was way ahead of you there. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we never would have uncovered the truth. That it couldn't have been Mr. Falls that put the body in the trunk. No! Preposterous to even suggest that the witness put the body in there. If that were true, then how do you explain the photo that she took? The corpse could only have been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. And we already know that at the time she was taking photographs. Now's your chance, Mia. Finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Mr. Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shutter for this may have been pushed by Miss Foster herself, because it's a time-delayed camera. Let's take another look at this camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built into it, even a mini tripod. Why, it's almost as if she had brought this camera just to take this picture. What are you trying to say then, Miss Fay? That when the crime occurred, Miss Foster wasn't in the field as she claimed? Well, if she really did use the camera's auto timer, then the answer is yes, she was somewhere else. Exactly. She was not in the field.
Would the defense please explain further?
Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was Miss Foster when the incident occurred? And answering that question will also make clear Miss Foster's true identity.
True identity? Do you know something?
Well then, please answer this question. Where was Melissa Foster when the incident on the bridge occurred?
I think she's got to be here, right? Naturally, the witness was standing right here.
Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth?
Before pointing out where the witness was standing, Miss Fay should do something herself. She should figure out where she stands, if you catch my drift. Oh, don't worry. The drift was certainly caught.
Yes, failure is an excellent opportunity for growth. Now try better next time.
Okay, so that's not where she was. I thought...
Yes, thank you.
Well then, please answer this question.
Okay, where was she? So, wait. I think... So she says she was here. That's impossible. Hang on a second. Was she pretending to be the victim? Oh, that's... Maybe she already had killed her, and she was pretending to be the victim, and she took the picture of herself to establish... Yeah. Naturally, the witness was right here.
But that's where the victim, Miss Hawthorne, was standing. Order! Miss Fay! What on earth?
Your Honor, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. But this would mean that there was no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it could only have been before the defendant met with the victim.
How asinine. Of course Mr. Falls met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to have put the victim in the trunk is the same man that killed her, Terry Falls.
You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edgeworth? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne.
What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life. Then who exactly is the victim in this photo?
It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness.
What?
It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Falls met on the bridge that day was not Valerie Hawthorne. It was you, Melissa Foster.
Me?
Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Falls himself believed that the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne. But the defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well. After all, she was the woman whose testimony helped get him convicted. But she wore a white scarf to identify herself with. But since then, my client has spent 5 hard years in a federal penitentiary. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore. You're just making this up as you go along. Where's your proof? I've got it all right here. This piece of evidence will blow this case wide open. At the time of the incident, Mr. Falls had forgotten what Valerie Hawthorne looked like. The victim's note. Mr. Falls had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed some piece of identification, namely this muddy scarf. It was Mr. Falls who requested that she wear this scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you were wearing a scarf like he asked, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster? No!
Where's Miss Foster?
She's collecting herself in the lobby. It's obvious that Melissa Foster did it. She hid the body in the trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together. The only question is, why did she do it? Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit.
Well, we'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose herself before we start again. Until then, this court is in recess. The defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understood. Very well. This court is in recess.
To be continued. Okay. We're going to keep going. Do a save, and then we'll jump into the next part. February 16th, 1:14 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 4.
Mr. Falls like,
I'm sorry.
I want to say thanks. You're real good. You really hooked me up.
Thanks. We're almost there. Once I prove that she committed the crime. Yeah, but there's one more big obstacle we've got to get past.
Obstacle?
Yeah, motive. Why would Melissa Foster kill that policewoman anyway? Motive, huh? Anyway, we're still badly in need of information. Information? Right. What we need the most is info about this Melissa Foster herself. All we know is that she's a student studying literature. And one more thing. What is it? Well, the incident that happened 5 years ago, of course. The kidnapping murder case of that zebra boy is on death row for.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie.
Mr. Falls, in that case, tell us more about it. About what happened 5 years ago.
Okay, I trust you. That day 5 years ago, I dream of it every day. This picture, it reminds me of everything. Bridge looks same, just like then, 5 years ago. Like it could fall apart any minute.
So it's been broken like that for at least 5 years. Sorry, buddy, but you sound like that one that could fall apart at any minute.
It's true, I did kidnap her. 5 years ago, I kidnapped my girlfriend, Dahlia Hawthorne.
What? Your girlfriend, huh? Hey, hold on there. Did you say Hawthorne? The victim's last name.
Dahlia Hawthorne, Valerie's little sister.
What? Are you serious? The girl, let her go. Yeah? Shut up, come closer, and I kill her. Okay. Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. So did Dahlia fake her death? The detective back then was Valerie Hawthorne. At first I thought shooting someone for a kidnapping was crossing the line, but if it was to protect her little sister, I can understand why she did it.
Wrong! No protect sister! Valerie betray me! Betray us!
What do you mean she betrayed you?
Everything. All lies. All make-believe. Kidnapping too.
A make-believe kidnapping?
Dahlia, my girlfriend, my love, my teen angel.
Did he actually say my teen angel? He has seen one too many soap operas.
I do anything she says. Anything Dahlia says.
Anything Dahlia says? Oh, hold on a minute. What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by...
Yeah, me and Dahlia. And Valerie, too.
Valerie was in on it?
Dahlia's family rich. Jewelry business. We get one jewel. That's what we thought. Me and Dahlia wrote kidnap note. We send to her dad. Asked for $2 million diamond. Tell him make exchange on Dusty Bridge. We tell him Valerie make transfer because she knew detective.
Having a police detective in your pocket is a useful thing, all right.
In the end,
you were planning on splitting the 2 million 3 ways, huh?
Yeah, but that woman... That woman, Valerie, she do it for real. She shoot at me for real. Me and Dahlia. I was shot in arm. Dahlia, she jump in river.
So she did fake her death. Interesting. Jump? You don't mean she jumped on purpose, do you?
I couldn't do it. I could never push her. Anyway, I blacked out. Wake up with police all over.
And that's when they decided to give you the death sentence.
I couldn't believe it. That woman, she betrayed me.
That man, Terry Falls, he killed her. He threw her off the bridge. He threw my beloved sister into the roaring river, 40 feet below. And they never found a body.
These 5 years, all I wonder is why? Why? Why did she lie? That's all I want to know.
So that's why you called her. You wanted to hear the truth from Valerie herself.
Yes, but I forget what she looked like, so I tell her to wear a scarf. I don't want to hurt her. Just ask why. Why? Why did you lie? Why did you betray me? I just want to hear answer come from her mouth, that's all.
So that's why you made a crazy escape like that. Just one thing, zebra boy. My senses are tingling all over. Tell me, Mr. Falls, where is it? Huh? Where's what? Oh, come on now, kitten. The ransom. The $2 million diamond. Remember that now? Did you give it back to Pops? Did the police take it?
I don't know.
Huh? You don't know?
No, really, I don't know. It's gone. With Dahlia.
With Dahlia? Ah.
That day on the bridge, Dahlia put it in backpack. Now gone, with Dahlia, gone forever, into Eagle River.
Disappeared with Dahlia, huh? Wait a minute.
You can come back in now. We're about ready to go.
Mr. Falls, just one more question. When you said with Dahlia, do you mean the diamond is still missing? Along with the body of Dahlia Hawthorne?
Never found her, my sweet Dahlia.
They never found her.
Swallowed by river, gone. Dahlia, my teen angel.
Your teen angel. How old was she anyway?
Just 14.
What? 14? I guess you were robbing cradles before diamonds. Yeah. She plans a fake kidnapping and disappears into the river with a rock worth $2 million. Man, oh man. Angels these days. Falls takes the fall. It's almost like his name's a pun or something and gets a one-way ticket to death row. Is Dahlia Hawthorne an angel? Or is she really a... This time, kitten. Looks like we have a few more aces up our sleeve now. You bet. All right.
The training wheels come off now, Mia. You've got to strike while the iron is hot. That's one of my rules. Remember it.
One of your rules? Geez, this guy is like a total ripoff of Godot. Like, he has rules, he likes coffee. Jeez. I'd be embarrassed if I wrote a character, like, who was such a ripoff of another character I just wrote in the same game, you know?
Well, now then, let's continue with the trial of Mr. Terry Falls. Witness, are you feeling better?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll try my best.
So, a thing occurred to me. Let's read the victim's note again. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. So, if Dahlia is supposedly dead, why is she going to talk to her? I mean, we know, because we played the first case of this game, but, you know.
Yes, Your Honor, I'll try my best.
You're a brave young lady.
Not this again. I can understand a defense lawyer wanting to get her client off the hook. However, to try to pin the crime on an innocent student is... What are you talking about? My witness is not the person on trial here. She's an innocent bystander who witnessed a violent crime. That's all. What possible reason would a girl like this have for murdering a policewoman?
It's certainly hard to imagine this woman as a murderer.
Her motive, huh?
I figure that's what I have to establish next.
Well, Miss Faye, do you have any evidence of a motive?
Yes, of course. I think. Ha! You're still acting as tame as a kitten.
Mr. Armando.
Listen, a lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. Huh? Smiling on the outside while your guts are twisted in knots is the mark of a pro.
Maybe so, but I wish you would quit grinning at me like that.
Excuse me. May I speak, Mr. Judge?
Of course. Mr. Judge is ready anytime you like.
I'd like to say something. Some people here are suspicious of me, right? That's why. I at least wanted you, Mr. Judge, to know that it's not true.
I see. You're such an honest and upstanding young lady.
It looks like this witness is a real professional.
What do you mean?
Look at that 100-watt smile. Just when things are darkest for her, click. She lights right up.
Very well then. Let's hear what the witness has to say.
All right. So we got ourselves some Melissa Foster's history.
I was out of the country until the year before last. Until I entered college, I'd never even been to Eagle Mountain before. And I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer, holding a grudge and killing the officer who testified against you 5 years ago, or kidnapping a poor girl. I just think the defendant is a terrible, horrible monster.
How did you know about the kidnapping a poor girl thing? How did you know about that?
Out of the country, eh?
Precisely. Furthermore, she has no possible motive for committing murder.
Indeed.
You're up to bat, kitten. Sharpen those claws and put on your best smile. You bet. Somehow, I have to tie her to this case.
Okay. Melissa Foster's history. Out of the country. So, what country were you living in then?
We were all living abroad, but after my parents were killed, it was a brutal civil war. She had to try to make her way back home alone. I lost everything. I didn't even have any personal identification. What kind of sob story is this? What do I do? Should I press her for details?
Yeah.
Witness, answer my question. I'll even repeat it for you. What country were you in?
Your Honor, this line of questioning is childish. What country she was in and how many languages she may speak are irrelevant here. What we're here to evaluate is whether this witness has any connection to this case.
I've lived abroad ever since I was a little girl. That's why I could never have known Mr. Falls or Detective Hawthorne.
Yes, I think we've established that point.
Yes, indeed. Well then, shall we add what you've just stated to the official testimony?
Yes, please, Mr. Judge.
All right. Naturally, I didn't know either the victim or the defendant. Okay, this is like one of those dramatic irony things where we know she's lying, but we can't, like, prove it yet. So, you know, we're in kind of a... Let's see. Didn't know the victim. Let's press it. You didn't know either person? Are you certain of that? Yes, I'm afraid I'm rather shy around people.
Oh well, that can't be helped.
Why is he just agreeing with everything that comes out of her mouth?
The first time you saw either of them was when they were on the bridge, correct?
Yes, it really was a coincidence. Until I entered college, I'd never been to Eagle Mountain before. So what made you decide to go to Eagle Mountain anyway? I just love being outdoors. Picnics, hiking, you know, that sort of thing. You don't look like much of a hiker to me, but you do look like a digger of sorts. But Eagle Mountain is a 2-hour drive from here, and no trains run through here. There are plenty of mountains that are closer and easier to get to. Well, I went there once with the college hiking club. I fell in love with its stark, desolate beauty and its cold, yet romantic gloominess. Didn't know you were such a goth. Oh! By the way, what's the name of your college? The prosecution objects to any questions that involve the witness's private life. Huh? All that matters is that she is a material witness to a crime. The witness doesn't need to respond to questions that are clearly malicious in intent. Thank you. She's really gone too far.
Miss Faye, you're treading on thin ice here.
I hardly said anything. Talk about sensitive. And I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer, okay? Perhaps, but your behavior that day was very suspicious. Not only have you contradicted yourself here in court, but you know things you shouldn't. For example, the scratches on the trunk of the car. Well, that's... Unfortunately, Miss Faye, your last statement proves nothing. Oh, really? And why is that? The witness came to the police station once to identify the suspect. It's entirely possible that at that time, an officer showed her this photo.
That seems like a rather serious mistake.
Ha! That's the oldest trick in the prosecutor's book. That's not fair. That wicked inmate. I'll never be able to forget that horrible day. Holding a grudge and killing the officer who testified against you 5 years ago. A grudge? Well, the policewoman's testimony was crucial, wasn't it? Crucial in getting the defendant sentenced to death. Yes, and that's precisely why he harbored such deep anger against her. So much anger that he forgot his own guilt. My client has always maintained that he's innocent of those charges. He seems rather forgetful. Your client, I mean. Huh? Not only did he forget about what he did, but he forgot the poor policewoman as well. What do you mean by that? Your client, he forgot what the detective looked like, right? It's too bad for her that he didn't forget about her testimony as well. Well, she's right about that. Mr. Falls is kind of forgetful, but... Oh, let's go harder on that. You said he forgot what the detective looked like. What did you mean by that? Well, he couldn't tell who she was without some kind of identification, right? Quite right. That's why the victim was wearing a scarf as identification. Why, if he'd been wearing a white scarf that day? If then he probably would have tried to kill me.
That's true. He's clearly a bitter man.
This is bad. Mr. Fall's reputation just keeps getting worse and worse. Sometimes it's best not to poke too deep. What should I do with that last... Let's have it added, because there's something odd about that. Your Honor, what the witness said just now was tremendously important. I'd like it added to the official testimony. The prosecution has no objection. After all, the defendant is a killer and a mentally unbalanced one at that. That testimony only helps to further prove that point. No, that's not why I...
Enough. Witness, if you would.
My pleasure, Mr. Judge. I guess I'm lucky I wasn't wearing a white scarf. Warren, that's a... What? That's not even a white scarf, is it? I just noticed that. It's like a blue scarf. But, hang on. Wear a white scarf for identification. But there's something odd about that. Yeah. Because this is the wrong... Yeah. Right? Yeah. Witness, I want you to look at this photo you took. It's hard to see in the photo, but look at the scarf the victim wore as identification. Oh, you're talking about this scarf right here, eh? Yes, that's it. The scarf the policewoman was wearing. I've got her now. Just don't mess up. But that's strange. In your testimony, you said stated the following. I guess I'm lucky I wasn't wearing a white scarf. Wait. This is the scarf you identified as belonging to the victim. But it certainly doesn't look white to me. Oh. Uh-huh. Well, it was foggy that day, and it was raining as well. It's not surprising that she mistook it for white. Sorry, but not this time. The witness just confirmed that this was the victim's scarf. Yes, but what's the significance? It's true that the scarf doesn't look white, but there's only one explanation for this mix-up. The reason why the witness thought the scarf was white is... the note? Right? I gotta... She saw it. Witness, have you ever seen this note? Note? No, never. It's top secret evidence. There's no reason that you would have. I wonder about that. What do you mean? This note shows Mr. Fall's instructions to the victim regarding their meeting. It says, wear a white scarf for identification. White scarf? Witness, you knew what this note said. And it's because you knew that you slipped up and mistakenly said white scarf. Well, Miss Foster? No! Order! 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 Mr. Edgeworth, I'm waiting for an explanation. I'm quite sure this note wasn't leaked to the public. And yet, this witness knew exactly what the note said. At the time of the murder, the number of people that knew were quite limited. Terry Falls is one. The person who wrote the note, Valerie Hawthorne, is another. And finally, one more person. Did you just say one more person? That's right. A person that no one would have suspected. Have you figured it out, kitten? Yep. The third person that knew the contents of that note was... profiles. Dahlia Hawthorne. And that person is Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? I've never heard that name before. Look at the victim's note. This is what it says. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time. There is her name right there. What's this? So who's this person? This Dahlia Hawthorne? Miss Fay must be desperate if she's trying to bring the dead back to life. The dead? Dahlia Hawthorne was the victim's deceased younger sister. She was killed in a crime 5 years ago. Killed in a crime? You don't mean... Yes, she was kidnapped and killed by Terry Falls. You said she was killed, but was she really? What are you implying? Of course, people thought she'd died 5 years ago, when she fell off of Dusky Bridge and was lost in the Eagle River. However, her corpse was never found. She was declared legally dead 5 years ago. As far as the law is concerned, Dahlia Hawthorne is officially dead.
But the fact remains that her body was never recovered. Dahlia Hawthorne was 14 years old 5 years ago. If she was still alive, she would be 19 now. Melissa Foster. I believe that's the same age you are. Ah! Even you couldn't...
Miss Faye,
You're not saying... But I am. That's precisely what I'm saying. This witness before us is the girl that was kidnapped and killed 5 years ago. This girl is in fact Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
what?
Nice work. That was like tossing a grenade into a 3-alarm fire. But unless you can tie all the loose ends together, you're nothing but a hit-and-run arsonist. I understand. If I can expose her true nature, I can turn this whole case on its head. Now's my chance to make Mr. Edgeworth squirm.
Witness, just who are you anyway?
I am...
I didn't think it'd come to this.
That's enough. You don't have to say any more, witness. Yes, I understand.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, explain yourself.
Your Honor, I have an admission to make. I honestly never thought the defense would pursue the matter this far.
You don't mean...
Yes, the prosecutor's office isn't filled with fools, you know. Naturally, we conduct full background checks on all of our witnesses. What did he say? Ha! It looks like the kid knew. He knew her true identity from the get-go. No way! But then why? If you hadn't revealed her secret, he wasn't going to say anything about it. All he wanted was her testimony. So he made a little trade. Let me introduce you to the victim's younger sister, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
But I thought she died 5 years ago.
We thought so as well, but, well, as you can see... Why? Why did she hide her identity for 5 years? That has nothing to do with the current case. She was merely an accidental witness to a crime. Accidental? I don't believe that for a minute! For the last 5 years, she's been playing the role of a victim. And now we find her acting suspiciously at the scene of another murder. Really, Miss Faye? I must say, your strategy here is painfully obvious. You're trying to pin your client's crime on an innocent witness in order to win. At any cost. How dare you? Please, let us take a moment to think. 5 years ago, this girl was kidnapped and nearly killed. But even worse than that, 5 years later, Dahlia Hawthorne lost something much more precious. Her big sister. Miss Faye must be insane to even suggest that she murdered her. What?
I'm inclined to agree with the prosecutor's logic. Miss Faye, do you have any evidence to back up your assertion? What possible reason would this witness have for killing her beloved sister?
Well, you see, I thought I was winning, but somehow he's turned it around on me. Ha! I think you need a little push in the right direction, kitten.
The defense is prepared to present evidence supporting our claim.
That wasn't me, it was this guy! This crazy coffee addict! I think we've heard enough empty threats from you, old man. What makes you think they're empty, boy?
Because your protege looks like she's sweating bullets.
I am sweating bullets. You think you're in a tough spot, huh? Of course, aren't I? No, you've just arrived at the moment of truth, that's all. Whether you win or lose, that's up to you. Up to me? The rashness of youth. How charming. This coming from someone younger than me.
Now then, let's not waste any more time. Miss Faye, what motive would this witness have for murdering her own sister, Valerie Hawthorne?
The diamond? What is this?
Is this the defense's idea of a joke?
If so, I certainly don't get the punchline. Well, Miss Fey?
Oh, that was the rashness of youth.
The rashness of youth?
Oh, it wasn't the diamond? Oh, she was the victims. I'm thinking, yeah. The witness stayed hidden. There must be a good reason. Somehow it must involve. There. I'm about out of options here, so I need to save. But, okay, I get it. I get it now. What? It was the note. Because she says, tell her the truth has to come out. That's it. The story starts after Terry Falls escaped. He called Valerie and told her he wanted to meet. This is the note she left. It says, talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time, the whole truth must come out. Valerie Hawthorne gave Dahlia a warning. She told her she was going to reveal to the world the whole truth.
The whole truth?
There was a dangerously important secret between Valerie and Dahlia. That's the reason Dahlia felt she had to kill Valerie. To keep her mouth shut permanently. A terrific story, Miss Fey. If you like fiction, that is. Enlighten the court, Miss Fey. What was this secret that was so important? Where's your evidence? Dahlia and Valerie Hawthorne. And Terry Falls. There's only one important secret that connects them all. Oh yes, I know this secret. Your Honor, the defense would like to request further testimony.
What testimony?
Regarding the kidnapping 5 years ago. We believe it will explain a lot of things, such as the nature of the important secret between the Hawthorne sisters.
Oh. Very well. I'll grant your request for further testimony. I know it'll be painful for you, but can you enlighten us once more, my little maple leaf?
What the heck? Yes, Judge, I'll try. I'm putting on the old charm one more time, Dahlia. But this will be the last time you hide behind your womanly wiles. So, 5 years ago. Okay. 5 years ago, I was kidnapped by Mr. Falls. The ransom price was a raw diamond. My sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Falls in the arm. That's when Mr. Falls tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money. So I decided to change my identity and start a whole new life. Yeah, I doubt that. The kidnapping left her emotionally scarred. With her sister's help, she left the Hawthorne family and started all over again. And what to believe, after all that, she murdered her sister. Preposterous.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Fey?
Yes, Your Honor.
As you've heard, the witness is still traumatized from the kidnapping. I'll ask you again to be extremely gentle in your cross-examination.
Mr. Edgeworth got the jump on me again. Ha! If we're not allowed to fight, then let's twist some arms. Listen up. We've still got that info. That ace up our sleeve. What info? Come on, kitten. Don't say you've forgotten already. The fact that the kidnapping 5 years ago was staged? Yeah. That's right. It was a fake kidnapping. Terry Falls told us that in the lobby. Yeah, he does anything she says. It was planned. All three of them planned it. Yes, that's it. The fake kidnapping is your best shot, Mia. That's her secret. Okay? Let's see. We're gonna save too, just because of how strange things are. 5 years ago, was kidnapped by Mr. Falls. Okay. Did you and Mr. Falls have a relationship? Yes, as a tutor. You were tutoring him, Mr. Falls? No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Mr. Falls came to the house to tutor me. That makes sense. 5 years ago, she was only 14. He probably came up with the kidnapping plan during that time. The Hawthorns are in the jewelry trade and are quite wealthy, you see. Quite the clever fellow, that Mr. Foles. Did I hear him right? Did you just call Mr. Foles a clever fellow? The ransom price was a raw diamond. Right, she brought it to the bridge. I heard the diamond is valued in the neighborhood of $2 million. $2 million? It was still uncut, so it was about the size of a pint of milk. A $2 million pint of milk. I don't know what to think about that. The defendant demanded that her sister, Valerie, make the exchange. Not as a detective, of course, but as an individual. By the way, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Edgeworth, why do you think you wanted to make the exchange up there on that mountain? If you ever got surrounded, it would be hard to escape. There's one thing a kidnapper wants to prevent, and that's police involvement. In a place like that, it would be easy to tell if he was being followed. With only one entrance to the mountain, he was ensuring his safety. What a wickedly clever man that Mr. Falls is. Yeah, right. It was all your plan. Anyway, Valerie brought the diamond to the mountain, and after she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Falls in the arm. Wait, that's when Mr. Falls tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. That might be... Wait a minute. Shoved from behind? That wouldn't make any sense. Because remember he said it was in the same state it was in. So he would have to push her... Is that? Hang on. Alright, I gotta save because we're like in game over territory if we don't. But I think this is the contradictory statement. Because because let's say supposedly she was there and then they were there. If he was shoving from behind, she would just be shoved further that way. So he'd have to throw her that way. So that's the contradiction, right? Yes. You say that Mr. Falls pushed you into the Eagle River. However, that's hard to believe. But it's true. I felt a push on my back. I'm certain of it. It was Mr. Falls. I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't clear enough. I shouldn't have said that's hard to believe. I should have said that's impossible. Impossible? I asked that the court recall the condition of Dusky Bridge, now and 5 years ago. That bridge hasn't changed one bit in these last 5 years. If someone had pushed you from behind as you've claimed, instead of being carried away by the river... Oh, I was thinking about it wrong. You would have been smashed by the bedrock below. A most certain death. Do you understand now, Dahlia Hawthorne? Oh, I had it totally turned around. The very notion that my client pushed you from behind is impossible. Your Honor, this event occurred 5 years ago. Why, for all we know, the water level in the river may have been higher back then. But it's 40 feet from the bridge to the river. A small change in the water level wouldn't have made a difference. Yep.
You're right. If the events occurred just as the witness had testified, then the defendant couldn't have pushed the witness into the river. Young lady, what is the meaning of this?
You see,
Just a moment, Your Honor. It's true that the witness testified that the defendant pushed her into the river. However, she never stated that she fell from the back end of the bridge.
What do you mean?
After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Falls panicked. Therefore, he could have unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. If that's true, she would have fallen into the river. Well, Miss Hawthorne, is Mr. Edgeworth's explanation correct?
Now that you mention it, I do remember now when I fell off the bridge. My skirt got caught on one of the bridge's side wires.
You can't be serious.
Order in the court.
It seems Miss Faye's assault has finally reached its conclusion. Not now, Mia. There's no time to retreat. Unfortunately for you, this is just the start of Miss Faye's assault.
What?
I believe your reasoning went something like this, Mr. Edgeworth. After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Falls panicked. Therefore, he could have unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. However, once again, I'm forced to say that's impossible.
Ridiculous. What's so impossible about it?
Because your flawed logic contradicts the court record. Let's see. Bridge has been unchanged for 5 years. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Your Honor, all of the answers are right here in this photo. Take a look at the wires supporting both sides of the bridge. They extend up to about 5 feet off the ground. It would be impossible to push someone off from there.
No! But let's remember the size and strength of the defendant. Wires like this wouldn't be a problem for him.
He could have easily picked up a 14-year-old girl and thrown her over. Oh, that's weak. So young and already so forgetful, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Falls had been shot in the right arm.
Oh!
And more importantly, Valerie Hawthorne had her gun trained on him at point-blank range.
Ugh!
So, Mr. Falls throwing the witness off the bridge? That is clearly impossible.
Ugh! Order! What is the meaning of this?
Dahlia Hawthorne, you jumped into the Eagle River intentionally.
What? What is this?
Why was there a tiger sound?
Indeed, what do you mean by such a ridiculous remark?
Yes, it's ridiculous. My sister was there to help me. She had her gun and handcuffs. She could have saved me. Jumping into a raging river like that would have been suicide. Perhaps, but still, that's exactly what you did. You were probably confident that you could handle the swift current. But even more so, the witness had a much more compelling reason for jumping into the river. Oh, then what was it? What was so important that she'd want to jump into the river? I think it's the diamond, but I'm gonna save. The witness is still alive. The fact alone explains everything. This is why she risked her life by jumping into the rapids of the Eagle River. The diamond, right? 5 years ago, something else disappeared along with Dahlia that day. The item that Valerie brought up the mountain with her. The $2 million diamond.
No. It can't be.
Yes, Dahlia had it all planned from the beginning. The $2 million, she was gonna keep it all to herself. She forced Mr. Falls to help her fake the kidnapping. At the last minute, she betrayed him and threw herself into the river with the ransom tucked away safely in her backpack.
Why, that's simply ridiculous. Order! Your Honor, 5 years ago, the witness was only 14 years old. Do you really think a 14-year-old is capable of such a demonic plan?
This woman is a demon, and there was one more person who helped make a demon out of her. Her sister, Valerie Hawthorne.
You mean the victim was involved in the kidnapping plot as well? But she was a detective then. You're saying she participated in her sister's kidnapping?
Precisely. I'm sure that it weighed heavily on her conscience for the past 5 years. This is the sole reason behind the victim's murder.
What do you mean by that?
On the day of the murder, after receiving the phone call from Mr. Falls, Valerie called her sister Dahlia, and then she told her, what she was planning to do. Planning to do? She was going to tell the whole truth, as she wrote in her note. That is what sealed Valerie Hawthorne's fate. That is when you hatched your demonic plan to kill two birds with one stone. A plan that would ensure neither of your accomplices to the kidnapping would talk. And that is why you killed your sister, Valerie Hawthorne. Or Valerie Hawthorne.
Who is that? Laughing at a time like this.
Forgive me. It's just hilarious.
Witness? Is that you?
You amuse me, woman. Miss Mia Fey. You can certainly weave an exciting tale. Naturally, you have the evidence to back it up, don't you?
Evidence?
Evidence that I planned the kidnapping, of course. That at 14, I plotted it with Mr. Falls and my sister.
Well,
And one more thing. What happened to the $2 million diamond? You can't provide evidence to at least show that.
Well, Miss Fey?
I don't know. What a joke. You, Miss Fey? Are you stupid or something?
Oh.
How can I prove a fake kidnapping that happened 5 years ago? I don't even have decisive proof of Valerie Hawthorne's murder.
Well, it seems that we've come to the end. To be honest, the witness's behavior does raise certain suspicions. However, I am forced to reject the assertions made by the defense.
Of course you are.
this is it? Is it really over? That girl has made a fool of me, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Without evidence, the trial's over. Who decided that?
Mr. Armando.
Come on now, kitten. Haven't you figured out that you can make your own rules? For example, even if there's no evidence, there's still testimony.
Testimony?
On the day in question, Dahlia Hawthorne murdered her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. She hid her body in the trunk of Mr. Fowl's stolen car, and then went to meet with him. Disguised as her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. That's what you think, right?
Yes, that's right.
In that case, there's only one answer, right? There's only one person left who can testify about Valerie Hawthorne's murder.
Since there's no proof, there's only one thing left to do. Who's the one person who can testify to that demon woman's crimes?
Terry?
Your Honor, the defense wishes to call a new witness.
A new witness?
Yes, we would like to hear the testimony of Terry Falls.
The defendant?
There's only one person that can shed any further light on the situation. Only one person that knows what Dahlia's role in the kidnapping was. Only one person that can say whether the person in the photo was Valerie Hawthorne.
Or whether it was in fact her younger sister Dahlia disguised as her. There's only one person who can solve this riddle once and for all, and that person is Terry Falls.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what is your take on this?
Why not? The prosecution has no objection.
Very well. Bailiff, bring the defendant to the witness stand.
This is my last chance, Mr. Falls. My last chance to establish Dahlia's guilt. You're all I have left.
Defendant, you've heard everything that's been said up to this point, yes? I don't believe it. No way. Dahlia died 5 years ago. Valerie betrayed me.
Mr. Falls, I don't know what she said to you 5 years ago, but one thing is clear. Dahlia is very much alive, and you were used for $2 million.
That's not true.
Mr. Falls, there's only one question I want the answer to.
2 days ago on Dusky Bridge, who did you meet? Was it Valerie Hawthorne, or was it Dahlia Hawthorne? Dahlia, did you betray me? 5 years ago, she promised She promised never ever betray each other.
Terry.
Dahlia! It's true! You are alive.
You don't trust me anymore? That makes me sad.
Tell the truth, the real truth. I believed in you.
I shouldn't need to say it. You already know.
Huh?
But there is one thing that I will say. My life is in your hands right now, Terry.
Dahlia.
Oh boy.
I will allow Mr. Falls to testify once and once only. Well then, Mr. Falls, yours will be the final testimony in this trial. Witness! Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Water. Please, water. Can't talk. Need water.
Oh well, I guess it'll have to be my coffee instead.
At least it'll match the way he's...
Probably feeling right now. Darker and bitterer than hell itself.
Ooh.
Ah.
He's even saying stuff Godot would say. Weird. Who Terry Falls saw.
That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. I was in front of Bridge. She wasn't there, so I waited on Bridge. I watched my car from Bridge. I never put nobody in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked, then she left. That was Valerie, not my Dahlia.
Okay. Mr. Falls, you're covering for her. Do you think she would do the same for you?
That's enough, Miss Fay.
His last statement was a fitting way to end the final testimony of the trial.
Huh? Well then, Miss Fay, please proceed with your cross-examination.
Is this how you want it to end, Mr. Falls? Another guilty verdict to go along with your death sentence? There's only one person who can stop it. You, kitten. I think.
Actually, I see the potential contradiction here. I already see it. It was... Wait a minute. She wasn't there, so I waited on the bridge. Okay. I'm gonna save. I saw this, and this stood out to me.
No, don't go into the title screen.
She wasn't there, so I waited on the bridge. I want to look at the witness photo. Look at how they're standing. If he was the one waiting, this is him approaching her as if she was the one waiting. Because of the way the bridge is laid out. The bridge is broken on this side. So, that statement is a lie.
So when you got to the bridge, no one had arrived, huh? So you waited on the bridge. You're sure of that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're sure, huh? Well then I'm sure too, Mr. Falls. I'm sure that you're lying.
Oh,
I would love to hear your rationale on this, Miss Fay. You want to know who arrived at the bridge first? Just look at this photo. It's perfectly clear. Obviously, the person that came first would be the one at the end of the bridge, right?
But that's the victim at the end of the bridge.
Precisely my point. In other words, Mr. Falls, you must have arrived at the bridge after she did. Mr. Falls, please don't get so worked up. We just want the truth.
I got there around 4 o'clock. It's true.
Huh?
I had somewhere to go. A special place. Did you go to this special place before you went to the bridge? Yeah. It's an old temple about 15 minutes from the bridge. 5 years ago, me and Dahlia, we promised each other. We swore we wouldn't betray each other. She brought a memento to represent our love.
A memento?
5 years ago, I hid it under base of tree there. It's a special memory for me. This is it. This is what I want to get.
Ah, that looks familiar.
This little bottle on a necklace is your memento? It's quite charming, but it looks empty.
Your Honor, you heard what my client said. He arrived at the scene at 4 o'clock. But he then left his car unattended and walked away. He was gone for approximately 30 minutes. With that much time, Dahlia Hawthorne could have easily hidden the body in the trunk of his car.
No. Indeed, there certainly was enough time for it.
I've still got a chance. Mr. Falls, there's no mistaking it. Huh? Mr. Falls?
That's enough. Please. Witness? I promised her 5 years ago, if it ever happens that we can't trust each other no more, then we're supposed to drink bottle. No! Stop the trial! Your Honor, we need a recess. I was stupid, couldn't keep promise, so I did it. I drank this. No! We were so close! Just a little more! I was gonna prove your innocence! No, don't want that. Don't trust self. Maybe kill again. Kill sweet Dahlia again. Mr. Falls! Mr. Armando, thanks for the coffee. Mr. Falls!
Oh boy. And so my first trial ended, suddenly and tragically. It ended with no winners, only losers. I ended up with a wound that cut so deep into my soul I thought it would never heal. I'm sure it was the same for the young prosecutor as well. But one person, the true criminal Dahlia Hawthorne, she left the courtroom with a secret smile on her demonically sweet face. Didn't see that coming. Well, yeah. But remember, when Phoenix first met Edgeworth in case 1, or in the game 1, Edgeworth was unbeaten. So this had to go this way, basically. Forgivable, that witch. Mr. Armando. So close to the truth. It was right there in front of us. You were just a little too soft, kitten. It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself. Don't cry, kitten. You're gonna make my coffee all salty. I knew it. I knew it wasn't cut out for this. Mia? Huh? Don't you get it? He's even got Godot's theme song playing right now. This is so unoriginal. You can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Mr. Armando. No matter how tough the case, no matter how bitter the memories, they always fade over time. Then you file them away and eventually forget them. One year later, in this very same courthouse, I myself got wrapped up in that case. Only after that did Dahlia Hawthorne get put on trial for her crimes. The verdict that was ultimately handed down to her was guilty, of course. Naturally, when the verdict was read, she had a perfect, angelic smile on her face. It was finally all over. At least, that's what I thought at the time. Unfortunately, I couldn't have been more wrong. It's been 5 years. But now something's happened that made me remember all this. The end of Turnabout Beginnings. So that's like a short... This is almost like a prologue to Bridge to the Turnabout.
So Bridge to the Turnabout. We're going to start that one next week. This is, I won't say generally, but broadly, I would say considered to be probably the best case in the entire series. And this is the conclusion of the Phoenix Wright trilogy. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty intense. So maybe we'll find out why that Diego Armando guy, you know, was such a ripoff of Godot. But anyway, we'll start this actually next time. So we'll see you then.